Hey guys, are you ready for this? I am going to give everybody a few minutes to hop on and we'll get started in just a minute. Um, Today we are going to have an author panel with a lot of my good friends and I'm looking forward to it. So just hang out here and let everybody get on here. So far, launch day has been awesome. I've gotten a lot of just really great encouragement from my real life friends, my internet friends, some great reviews, and a lot of wonderful posts. So it's been a pretty good day. I'm still waiting for my books to arrive. I'm like watching out the window. Right now, they have been marked as out for delivery since very early this morning, so I trust that they are on their way, and I hopefully I'll have them by the evening live, but I mean, if not, you know what it looks like. I just was hoping to be able to get them signed and get ready to mail them out as soon as possible. So I guess that's what I wanted them for more than anything, so you guys could have them. So like I said, a lot of my friends are going to be joining me today for this live, but I did want to say that Tara Grace Ericson is not going to be able to join us anymore because she's still not feeling well, so do keep praying for Tara Grace. I know she has just a busy schedule right now with deadlines coming up, and could really use our prayers to just start feeling well again. So Tara Grace is an indie author, and she lives in Indiana, I believe. And she wrote the Main Street Minden series, and then she's also in the midst of writing the Bloom family series. So the Bloom family series, each sibling has their own book, and I've read two of them. I've read A Date for Daisy and Lavender and Lace. And like they're sweet. I enjoy them, and I really like how much she weaves like faith into the whole story. It's not just like tacked on at the end or anything, but it's like an active part of the characters' lives and their decision-making process. It was really just pertinent to our day and age because it was really questioning like how does that my faith inform who I am on social media. So if you have never read any of Tara Grace's books, I mean, I have her tagged on the post advertising this, but you could look her up on Amazon, Goodreads, Google. It's Tara Grace Ericson. So I'm sorry she's not going to be able to join us today because I enjoy her books and I was looking forward to that, but hopefully, most of all, she starts to feel better soon. So, like I said, for the next hour, I'm going to be spending time with some just incredible women that I have met here on Bookstagram. I've actually met all of them here on Bookstagram, and they've been just an incredible part of my support system, and they're all authors, they all love Jesus, and they're all moms, and I'm honored that they joined me because, like, it's one thing, it's one thing to be a good friend with somebody and, like, chat books together, but like to agree to be on a live video is like a whole nother level of friendship. So I'm definitely grateful that they are willing to take this step and do this with me because I want to. I've been talking about my writing so much. I want to like, you know, for you to be able to hear some about like them and what they do and how they make time for it and just shine the light on them wherever they are in the process. So I'm going to start. I'm going to go ahead and add Jamie here and send the request. So Jamie, cool. Hey, that's so
Hi.
So I've never actually talked to Jamie like in person before.
No.
Like Jamie lives in Minnesota and I live in Virginia. So we have not actually run into each other. So we first started just like bonding over like books that we both like the same types of books and chatting about books. And then like Jamie bought my book and read it and just was really helpful, not only with like encouragement, but she also had some like really helpful um, and really like had a real gift to be able to like show me how I could like ways that I could strengthen it without like putting me down. So that's like a huge gift. That's been amazing. And so she also read then Until We All Run Free. You beta read that one, or actually kind of alpha read that one. You were one of the first people to read that one, and just has been like really really helpful. So Jamie has written an incredible book, and you are querying it right now, right? And
Yeah.
what's the title of it right now?
Um, well, right now it's Of Love and Treason is the title, um, but that could change. You never know.
So do
It's
you want
the
me to,
title's changed like 6 times, so
so do you want me to tell them about what that's about, or do you want to?
um, go for it. I don't know. I want to
So
hide.
A Love and Treason is the story of Saint Valentine, and Jamie took like the what we know about like the myths about him and just the I don't know what's been passed down, and there's a lot of just holes and things we don't know about him, and she just took what we did know and just fictionalized, like came up with what like filled in the holes of what she thought like this could look like, this could have looked like. And St. Valentine is like such a powerful story anyway. And when I read Jamie's book, it was just like it was profoundly moving. And like you're reading it the whole time, like he was a real person. You know how his story ends, right? Like,
And it was so hard to write because of that, you know.
like, did you just feel like profoundly sad the whole time you were writing
Yeah,
it?
I was like, well, how can I change this? Like, can I please find something in the historical record that I could, change it somehow?
Yeah, like you like
But
actually like Anastasia, right? Like
yeah,
maybe he would.
maybe. But yeah,
Um,
tried to keep
so
it history.
when I finished it, it was it was sad. We were sad, but I also was just like very joyful. And I after it, like it sat on me for like weeks afterwards. And afterwards, I was just saying how like it doesn't have the traditional what we would think of as a happy ending, but because of Jesus Christ and the resurrection, um, Jesus redefines what a happy ending is, and it's
Mhm.
not dying, it's not having what you want in life, it's the resurrection, and that's what makes the story just so beautiful and joyful. So I'm really glad you wrote it.
Oh, thanks.
So um, just talk to me about like, did you always like you went to college with this? So did you always know you wanted to be a writer?
Um, I pretty much always wrote, I guess. I mean, I started writing stories when I was like, could barely make words together. And I made books on pieces of cardboard and stuff like that. And just read everything I could possibly get my hands on. And then I started writing probably more seriously when I was like 14. I started writing a novel and I finished that when I was 17. And then it just kind of kept going from there. And I thought I wanted to be an English teacher, so I started going to college for that. And then I sat in a classroom and was like, nope, not doing that. So then I kind of switched over to writing, and I was married at the time when I was in college, so my husband was really supportive of that and was like, if you want to be a writer, then go for it. So that was awesome to have that support
Yeah,
in that. So
absolutely.
yeah, so then I switched my major to writing, and yeah, so I've been.
So I guess that's like the gist of like your writing journey, but like, do you have anything else, like, any articles or anything else that you have published, or like what kinds of things have you written? I guess just for
Um,
college, and then this book, or
yeah, like they had a literary magazine for Iowa State, and I published some short stories in there. And then I did self-publish a book in high school,
oh, did you?
and it was horrible. But yeah, so there's that. But as far as like recent stuff, um, I mean, becoming a mom kind of took over a lot of that. So I've like in the past couple years, I've really like buckled down and like I'm gonna do this and tried to really make it work and got up early so I could finish this draft and really polish it. So kind of
Yeah. So, I guess that kind of helps to answer the question of like how you make time for it. And I guess
yeah
part of the problem with just like being a mom and writing is we kind of have like a lot of times like we might feel torn. Like, where's my responsibility right now? Like, how much do I give to writing, or do I need, do I have a obligation to be doing something else right now? So, just
yeah.
like, how do you, I don't know, work through that and I guess like to some extent you're believing that your writing is important enough to make time for it. So
I mean, I
are
really
you?
do feel called. Like I'm terrible at like talking in real words with my mouth. So I feel like when I write, like, oh, I can do that like semi-coherently, and like get a
Yeah,
message across. And so I don't know. I've always felt really called to write and that I can, share a message that way, whereas maybe I couldn't do that very well face to face or, verbally. So I
yeah,
do that
and
that's
that's
a calling of mine, and I feel like it is important as far as like doing that with being a mom and a wife and all that kind of stuff. Was really hard to get that balance, and I struggled for a really long time. And then I ended up, I went to a writers' conference and heard Robin Jones Gunn speak, and she started writing when her kids were really tiny, and she was like, I would get up at 3 a.m. every day and write from 3 to 7:30. I was like,
wow.
wow, that's amazing. I'm not doing that, but
Yeah,
you know, but I did start like, okay, that's a good way to do it. Sorry, I've got a little one banging a sucker. His
don't worry about
anyway. Um, so I've started getting up at like 5 a.m. and writing from like 5 to 7:30 or whenever the kids would get up, and that's when I started doing a majority of this stuff, or at night when they were sleeping.
it.
So,
Yeah.
or during the day if I really couldn't stop. But
So right now you're not so much like actively writing, you're more working on finding an agent or a publisher, or are you working on something else right now? What's going on right now?
I have a plot line sort of worked out for like a sequel, which is not really a sequel. It just
Right.
happens after Valentine's story. So I'm trying to work through that, and then I have another one written that's set in like 1620, so it's a very different time frame. And that one's all done, but it needs a lot of polishing. So I'm kind of torn between like starting something new or working on that again. And starting something new is kind of hard because I feel like I have to like get to know brand new people,
Right.
which is silly because like they're made up people, It's not that it
Not
shouldn't be
really.
that daunting, but it kind of is.
That's not really.
But yeah, so that's kind of my struggle with starting the new one is like, okay, I have to like create new people and like get to know them and how they would act, and
Right.
that's
Yeah.
daunting.
So, I had a question. Oh, about like what's the dream? Like where are you headed? I guess. What do you like if you had like all your dreams come true with writing? Like what does that look like for you? Where
Oh shoot,
you're
I
already shooting for?
um, I mean, I would love to be traditionally published, um, and I don't know, just be an encouragement to people and point others to God and bring Him glory. I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, I don't know. That's the whole point of why I write anyway. So, I mean,
Yeah. Well, like when I read your book, that's totally like what I saw and what I got. I just thought it was like it deeply impacted me. And so I think not only do you have like a gift with words in the way you write, but also with just like the message. And I think that's important. And I do think that Jamie's book is good enough to be traditionally published. So we're just waiting and praying. I've been praying with you, just praying for the right
thank you.
agent or publisher to come along and get that over the finish line. So
Thank you.
um, just so excited to be here with you for that journey. Um, so we just have like a couple more minutes, but um, Jamie's famous for being okay with stories that don't end happy. And I just wanted to give you a chance to like address that for a second. And I guess like a lot of people, we have so much just going on in the world that is heavy and sad. And so when we turn to reading, we're looking for like escape, and we want something to end happy and tell us that everything will be okay. But you don't seem to have that same, I don't know.
Okay, I like happy endings, okay? Like I will read Julie Klassen all day long and they always end happily and they're wonderful. Um like so I don't not like happy endings, but I think I mean the stories that those feel good while you're reading them, but then you have to come back to reality and it's kind of a shock sometimes like, oh man, okay, where's my next fix? And we kind of look for, our I don't know, our escape to come through books, which is fine, which I mean, that's good sometimes. But for me, when I'm reading books like um, Between Two Shores or a Voice in the Wind and, The Seamstress, they don't end happily and they're really kind of dark and heavy. And yet at the end, you kind of realize that this whole thing has been pointing to Christ being the hero and the real, knight in shining armor at the end of the darkness. And so when I'm done reading books like that, instead of feeling sad and heavy, that makes me like, okay, like this world is bad, it's dark, bad things are going to happen because we're just part of a broken world, but like it's okay because we have, as believers, we have Jesus and he is, our rescuer, our hero. And at the end of the day, like we have that to cling to, and that makes me so excited and like gives me so much hope. So like I don't care if characters die and don't get what they want. Like if it points to Jesus at the end, like so excited about that.
That's good, and I'm glad that I'm glad that you say that because it's good to remember that too. Because at the end, the darkness does not have the final word.
Yeah.
In history, like we know that, and so yeah, it is good to have books that remind us of that.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you joined me, and if you if you do not follow Jamie, again, it's Jamie Ogle, and she's also tagged on my thing. So go follow her and follow her writing journey. And I hope everybody can read your book one day.
Well, that would be awesome. But
I have so many friends looking forward to it. So.
Oh, well, thank you, and thank you for having me and wanting to talk to me. And like this is
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
super excited for your new book. It's
awesome.
Congratulations on launch day.
Oh, yours should be here any minute now. I'll send it to you as soon as I come.
Okay, yeah. I want to see it. I mean, I've seen
All
it.
right. Yeah, I'm sorry this is so short. We'll talk again soon.
All right.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Okay. It's so good to meet her. Jamie has been a huge encouragement. I'm waiting for the next request to come in. Oh, I just wanted to let you know while I wait for the next request to join to come in. This is Will. I do have Will with me today. Will is my emotional support turkey, if you've never met him before. Will finds the lost things, and today I'm counting on him to find my train of thought and keep me on target today. So I ramble when I get nervous. So I just wanted to let you know that Will is here with me today. And now I have Elisabeth Brown from Metaphorical Cello is jumping on with me. Hey, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good. Is the child still asleep or is she up?
No, she is awake and I can guarantee she will interrupt this, so just be prepared for that.
It's fine. We're totally fine with that. So, Elisabeth, like I said, she's with her handle is Metaphorical Cello, and Elisabeth, you have written and you do write, but you're not actively writing right now. So I would love to hear about your writing journey and like how you started, and yeah.
Okay. Well, I've always enjoyed writing, but I never considered it as a career. And the primary reason for that was I assumed my career would be getting married, having 17 kids, and homeschooling them. So I wrote a little bit on and off in college. That's when I had a novella, short story published, sorry, in an anthology. But I was in love with a cute boy and I wanted to get married and have all his babies. So like that was going to be enough for me. And after we got married, I discovered it isn't always that easy to have 17 babies. So I needed something else to put my creative energy into, and I needed some other goal to think about instead of just obsessing about why I couldn't have kids. So I started to take writing more seriously a little bit and did a little bit more. And then, of course, as soon as I kind of got more into it, then God answered my prayer. I now have a toddler who takes up most of my creative energy.
Yeah.
But I still dabble. I would love to be published someday, but it's not my top priority right now. So I'm trying to stay in the writing zone, hone my craft as I can, but if I don't finish anything for the next 5 years, it won't kill me.
Yeah. I think like for most of us who are coming on here today, like for most of us, the fact of the matter is that our entire writing journey has been just like a God thing. So it sounds like you're okay with that, with it being a God thing and him just taking it where he wants it to go. So is this novella that you wrote something you want to tell us about, or?
Yeah, it was a Cinderella retelling set in like the blandest, like quasi fairy tale kingdom. I did no world building at all. But it was published in an anthology called Five Glass Slippers with Ruglewood Press, which is, I think, now defunct. But you can still find it on Amazon. And I got some good feedback on it. I don't know. I haven't read it recently, so I don't know. Maybe it's embarrassing. If it is, you can tell me. I don't know. I wrote a Snow White retelling, kind of in the same vein, but that one isn't published anywhere. It's just on my computer.
Yeah. So tell us about this like writing course you're doing right now. How's that going?
It is over now. It was
Okay.
good. It was just 6 weeks, and I definitely wimped out towards the end and did not keep up with all the assignments. But that's just between you and me and whoever is watching this video. But it was good. I learned some stuff, and it was really encouraging. So
So did it get like creative juices flowing, or is it you're just trying to get your assignments done?
it did, yeah. It took me away from my longer work in progress, so I didn't make a whole lot of progress on that during those 6 weeks. So that was it took me away from that. But on the other hand, it gave me some things to watch out for in my writing, some pitfalls to avoid, and so that was helpful.
Okay, so you also have recently started an Etsy shop with bookish things. Is it like it's Books Life Design?
Yeah,
Right?
book life design. I don't know. I just picked it like at 11 o'clock at night. She doesn't want me to help her.
uh, so yeah, so that's cute. So if you guys like get a chance, go check out. She has like some really adorable like writing designs and reading designs. She has like t-shirts and bookmarks, like
Mugs.
shop.
Thank you. It's a work in progress, but I've got some new stuff that should be added soon too. Woo-hoo.
Awesome. So when you're reading a good book, what do you look for in a good book, Elisabeth? Like what makes it like that 5-star for you?
I was trying to think about this question earlier, and I have no idea because my tastes vary so widely. I cannot think of one unifying theme, but I think primarily I want characters that I can really identify with and care about. I want to be able to get into their heads and feel their emotion and imagine what they're going through. I think that's my main thing, if I can identify with the characters. So I'm not sure what she's getting into.
All right, one last question, and then I'll move on to the next one. So, kissing books or not kissing books?
For reading or writing, I'll read them, but I've never written a book.
It is a whole different level of writing a kissing book because knowing your mom's gonna read it.
Yeah. And the first short story I had published, I had never kissed anyone, so I'm like, I can't go there. I don't know what it's like. Now I have a daughter, so I have, but
That's funny. But do you like to read them?
I do. Not all the time.
Yeah.
Some of the time.
So you're not opposed to them.
Not opposed.
All right. Well, thank you so much for jumping on with me. Again, if you guys want to follow Elisabeth, she has like book reviews and, like I said, her Etsy shop and lots of bookish things going on over in the Brown household. So it's been like really fun to connect with you on Bookstagram and just like find a lot of books that we have in common that we like and so on. So thank you for joining me today. It was nice to meet you.
Yes, thank you for having me on. It was so much fun.
Sure. All right. Talk to you later. Okay. I think Kelly is next. Um, Hold on, let me see. Well, we'll put on Tara Grace because she's here. Tara decided that she wants to be well enough to join me today, and I am so happy to have her. Hey,
Hi.
how are you? Did you already hear me like bragging about your books earlier?
No, I must have missed it. Bummer, I'll have to rewatch that.
Yeah, I was already like talking about the Bloom sisters because I read A Date for Daisy and Lavender and Lace. I haven't read Poppy's Proposal yet, but yeah, so I was already sharing how I enjoy your books and about just like how I like how the faith is spread like all throughout the book, and it's like a major theme of that. So, did you always know you wanted to be a writer, Tara?
No, I had no intention of being a writer. I actually have a engineering degree. I went to school and I worked as an engineer for a lot of years.
Wow.
Yeah, and so this whole writing thing was pretty unexpected, actually. But you guys were talking, I think it was with Jamie, where you were talking about, okay, maybe both, being it's just being a God thing and letting him, control the journey and take it where it goes. And that's what happened with me. I started writing just because I was like on an airplane for work. I've traveled for work a lot,
Okay.
and I didn't have internet, so I was like, well, I kind of have this story I've been thinking about on my commute, and so I opened up a Word document and I started writing it. And that was probably 5 years ago now. And that turned into my first book. Um, so yeah, it's been kind of
Was that one of the Main Street Mendon books or was that a different one?
yeah, that was Falling on Main Street. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, since then it's been kind of crazy. I left my job I worked in manufacturing. So I traded in my hard hat for a desk and some, and a new laptop and started writing.
Awesome. So, like you already kind of said that you're just kind of like along for the ride, but do you have like a dream that you're shooting for? Like if I am here, then I know that's what I'm going for.
I mean, there are like milestones I think that most authors think of, like hitting some of the bestseller lists and things like that, which as an independent author are really difficult to do. Um,
Yeah.
that would be a really like clear sign to me that like a lot of people are reading and enjoying your books. And so that would be one of like my big like, you know, someday maybe, that's I can't remember what uh Rachel Hawk calls them, but they're like, the big crazy dream that you
Yeah.
set
Yeah.
to God and say, I don't
Right.
think this is going to happen, but you can make it happen. So
Right. Well, you never know. God's already surprised me so much. That it sounds like he's already surprised you so much. So
true.
who's to say? Um, I just had a question about that and I just lost it. Oh, I was just going to say that I read an article. I don't even know who it was about. I forgot. In Real Simple magazine recently, where the author has kind of like reached the top, and she was just saying like I didn't know until I reached the top that like the journey on the way there was like the fun part. And I think like right now I'm like have my like itty bitty launch today, and I'm just like, yay, I have sales, and it's like so exciting. And I think like eventually you get to the top and you lose that excitement over everything. So I say like, hey, enjoy the journey and to celebrate those little victories that you have while you
Definitely.
have them. So, Tara Grace likes kissing books. We know this about you. So,
I
tell us
do. I love
what
kiss.
makes kissing books so good.
I don't know. I've always loved romance novels, and oh man, I would read all of the Nora Roberts from my mom's bookshelf, and all, like probably books I shouldn't have been reading at 14, 15 years old, but that was where like I fell in love with this idea of happily ever after, and the journey of falling in love. I just love it. And then when I discovered Christian fiction, it was in college. It really changed things for me and like opened up a whole new idea of like, yes, like the journey of falling in love with that special someone is wonderful, but without the falling deeper in love with Christ and like growing in your faith, like the stories started to feel flat to me if I would read them and they
Yeah.
didn't have the faith element. And so
Yeah.
I really love to give my readers and myself, when I write them, both, the
Yeah.
all the tension and the fun of that romance, but also showing how real people of faith kind of navigate those situations.
You make a really good point there because I'm going to be honest with you. I was like in college when I watched The Notebook, and I reached the end of The Notebook, and I felt depressed. It felt flat. I was like, that's the point. Like,
That's
that's it. That's it. Like you fell in love. Like, so what? What about eternity? It felt without Jesus. It just, I don't know. I lost some of the magic. I don't know. Um, so that's a good point that you make. So, I have one more. I forgot what my other question was. Anyway, so I'll just go ahead and ask you. So, what do you look for in a good story? Like when you're reading, what kind of do you
um
look for?
I
What
love to
makes it like a 5-star for you?
I am not a very hard reviewer. I give too many stars to most of the books I read.
Oh, here's my books, Tara. Here, take them.
Um, but for me, I love getting inside the character's head and like being able to relate with them. I'll do some more in a second. Um, and yeah, I think relatable characters, but I really do think sorry, she's laughing because
Yeah.
I was so excited when I got my first 5-star review from Bringing Up Books.
Yeah, Natalie.
So relatable characters, but I really love to see the journey. Like I need them to grow as a character and like discover something about themselves and something about God along the way.
Right.
And I love to read contemporary. I don't read a ton of historical. I'm branching out because it is nice to read in not the genre that I write in.
Right.
Because I get to turn off my like analysis brain, I think.
Yeah.
But I love biblical fiction, which I would never dream of trying to write, but I do love to read it.
That's interesting that you said that because honestly, because I write historical fiction, so for me, like reading yours and Mandy Blake's books, I'm branching out and reading contemporary and Becky Wade, and I read your books, and it's like Starbucks and cell phones. It's just it feels so weird. Uh, so yeah, so I read you guys to like branch out of my genre. Yeah, it's been awesome. Um,
Sorry, I'm trying to rip out
yeah,
a minute.
I'm so glad. I hope you feel better soon. I'm so glad that you went ahead and joined on with me today.
I'm like watching and I'm like, I don't feel terrible right now. I could jump
Oh, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you messaged. And I did want to say when I was reading during the late, it was just fun because like the characters live near Terre Haute, Indiana, and then like one of them had lived in Chicago, and like my family lives in Chicago, and I have a sister living in Terre Haute right now. So it was just like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I started writing, we lived near Indianapolis, and
yeah,
I drove through the country towards my the facility where I worked, and so I drove through all these little tiny Indiana towns along the way, and so that's where I started writing. Now we don't live there anymore, which makes it a little bit harder to do, think about. I have not spent that much time in Terre Haute, even though that's where I write the books. That's
Well,
what
I've spent a lot of time driving through Indiana, but that's mostly what I do there. I just drive through it.
that's the spell.
All right. Well, it was really nice to talk to you. And when's the next book out? Ashley's asking.
My Freedom Ridge Christmas book comes out in December.
Right.
That's been a really fun project with 5 other Christian romance
Yeah.
authors. I decided that I wanted to do a project like that, and since no one was inviting me to do it, I was going to just start one and invite people
Oh,
in.
really?
So that's been super fun, and that comes out in December. Mine's the very last book in the series. And then the next Bloom Sisters book is supposed to come out in late January.
And I'm looking for that's Lily, right?
Yes, that is Lily.
Okay. We're gonna get inside her head finally. And see what's
Yeah,
going on
she's been
under all that armor.
difficult character to write, but it's been a fun story to write. So
Awesome. We're looking forward to it. And the Freedom Ridge series, like she said, it's like a whole like series of people who meet at this resort and interact, and each author wrote a different like story in the series. So yeah, I have Mandy Blake's, I think, and maybe one of the other ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking forward to that. Awesome.
awesome.
We'll get better soon.
Thank
And-
you, and congratulations on your new release.
Oh,
I can't
thank you.
read it.
Thanks. So if you want to look up Tara Grace, find her on Instagram, Tara Grace Ericson, or Goodreads, or everywhere else.
Thank you.
Bye. Oh wow, this is fun. Like what? I was like an hour ago, I'm like sitting there like all nervous waiting, and now I'm just having fun with all my friends. I am waiting for the next one to come on. I'm so glad that you guys are all joining and talking in the comments. It's good to see people showing up and just celebrating with us, celebrating good books with us. Let's see. I guess I'll just talk about my book while I wait. My second book, Until We All Run Free, is released today. It is available on Amazon right now. It is the sequel to Until We All Find Home, which is the first book that I wrote. But I tried to write it so that you could read it without having to read the second one. So let's see. Here we go.
I'm here. Yay. Sorry, I had a little technical difficulty there.
It's okay. Like we have plenty of time. It's just like us and Carrie, and like it's not like Carrie needs to talk that much. So
Well, thank you for having me and congratulations. It's so exciting.
thank you. Yeah, I was like sick with anxiety over the weekend, and now today I'm feeling like a lot better about it. So
Good.
actually like feeling excited about it. Like I actually like my book again. I like my people again. So.
Well, good. That's awesome.
So Kelly is on Bookstagram as the Cozy Bookworm, and Kelly and I started just connecting over books, and we like a lot of the same types of things, and just commenting and talking together. And so I asked Kelly to beta read Until We All Run Free for me because I needed people to read it who had not read Until We All Find Home to make sure that it still made sense. So she's been like a huge encouragement and support to me. And Kelly, you actually like you read, and that's what you do on Bookstagram is you talk about like books that you read a lot, but you also are writing.
Yes.
Right?
No.
So,
Yes, I am. I do. I love to write.
That's great. So like have you written anything like that we can like go online and Google and find?
No, that's still the dream to be published for sure is the dream.
So, is that something, yeah, you wanted your whole life? Like, did you grow up thinking you wanted to be a writer?
Oh, yeah. So I've always been a reader. My mom and dad were really great about taking us to the library as kids. So reading was always a love. And then writing for sure. I had little notebooks, all throughout the house of little stories I'd write. And then, you got older, life got in the way, went through school, got married, now have a baby. But I had a little more time on my hands actually after we had a baby because I was home more. And then I
Yeah.
started writing again. So always been a love, but something I kind of picked up and put down and picked up again. So
Yeah. So are you like willing to tell us about what your current project is, or?
sure, it's still, I guess, in the brewing phase, as we were saying before. But it's a right now contemporary story, obviously a love story, set out in Wyoming area. Spans right now about a 10-year period, so it's kind of a family novel. Um, so yeah, it's
You
exciting.
know how I
It's
feel
still,
about this. So.
yeah.
Awesome. And so, like, I know sometimes that we chat and you're just like, I had a spurt tonight. I had inspiration and made some progress. So, like, how many words do you have down right
I'd say about 50,000 of actual scenes written, and then notebook after notebook after notebook of things I've yet to figure out where they're going to go or if they're anything going to end up in the book. But about 50,000, so I'm excited.
now?
Yeah.
So, are you pretty organized with, like, I spend, this percent of my time on reading and this percent of my time on reviewing and this percent of my time on networking
Mm-mm.
and this percent of my time on writing and this percent on editing? Or how do you
No,
figure out the balance
no.
between?
I made a commitment, I would say about a year ago when I was first pregnant with my daughter, to really spend time writing. So most nights are when I get most of my writing done when she's in bed. But no, I'm not organized like that. I usually read in the mornings when she's napping
Oh, right.
and definitely write in the evenings, but I'm very much an on the fly kind of person. So.
Yeah. So do you like write when inspiration strikes, or do you like write because you need to?
I try to be disciplined. I found that even when I'm not, oh, I have, this creative spark, if I sit down and make myself, that's usually when I get my most, I guess, creative bursts. So I've learned to do that even when I don't feel like writing. If I sit down and
Yeah.
write, it usually comes to me. So, which is
Yeah.
exciting. I didn't, that was, I guess, a recent discovery of mine.
It's so weird. Yeah. So are you writing? Do you like write your book in order like this, or do you write like?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
No,
you're like
and
Carrie?
yes, I think you and I talked about this actually.
I
I'm like,
know
am
you.
I weird? Is this weird? And then I looked
Yeah.
it up online, and all these people are like, no, 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 no. A lot of people start in the middle or the end, or I always
Yeah.
knew the end of my story, the one I'm writing now. So no, not at all. Not a linear writer.
So so are you shooting to be like traditionally published, or what? What are you going for? What do you want? What do
I
you
think
need?
I'd be just happy to get it to a point where I could either self-publish or be published, honestly. Just completing it was the goal originally. But I
Yeah.
think my goal right now is at the very minimum indie published. That has always been very actually appealing to me, is the whole indie publishing route. Yes, the big, big dream. I know what Tara was talking about. I follow Rachel Houck as well. The crazy big dream, Lord, if you want to make it happen, that's great. If not, that's okay. Would be traditionally published, but I would just be happy and satisfied to finish it and hold it in my hands. So,
Well, awesome. We'll see what God does. Like my big dream is to like hide in a hole and run away from the whole thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, here we are. So
Here we are.
let's see what happens. I think like this isn't about me, but the things I like about indie publishing is like I'm not on somebody else's deadline. They're not like you have to have a
Hmm.
book out next year and I have to perform. So just having that freedom, and not even just the freedom over my work, but the freedom of my own time is
Yeah,
that's definitely been an advantage to being an indie published
for
author.
sure.
So you read a lot.
Hmm. I
You
try
read.
to.
I guess you've always liked to read.
Oh,
Or
yeah. Yeah.
big reader. And you usually just read like Christian fiction, or do you?
Mostly Christian fiction. I enjoy that just because maybe you get into mainstream fiction, you kind of have to worry about content, things I don't really want to expose myself to. You get halfway through a book and it's like, I don't want to read this, but mostly Christian fiction for sure. Definitely.
And so, what do you look for when you're reading Christian fiction? What makes it set apart, better, best? What are you looking for in a good story?
Sure. Um, I like characters that mess up. I like them to mess up royally and to have that big redemptive arc. Um, but it needs to be clear that sin is never glorified, but it's
Yeah,
used as a tool to point to Christ and our need for him. So I do like characters that royally mess up, the ones you're like, what are you doing?
yeah,
But I do like,
yeah.
just like us, real life people that make really bad choices, and then God intervenes, and that need for him, it comes to the forefront. I like that journey for sure.
That's awesome. So are you okay with books that don't end happy, or do you really need that?
I like the happy ending. Now, I was laughing at Jamie because I do love the I guess it's the Mark of the Lion series, so I understand what she's saying. But no, I love the happy ending. I don't know. I mean, if I read a book and it ends kind of on a bittersweet note, I'm not gonna be mad or anything. But I like to read more books that makes me happy, make me happy at the end. You could rip my heart out through the book, but I like it for, to be a happy ending.
Oh my goodness, like Susan May Warren's books lately I've been reading. My heart is like all over the floor.
Yeah, she
That's your
likes to do that.
anyway. Those have been good. So you're like Kelly gives me good book recommendations, guys. So if you want good book recommendations, you like Christian fiction, go to the Cozy Book Forum. That's who you should get them from. So you do like kissing books.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know, like some people don't because they don't. I don't know. They don't want to read that. So why do you like kissing books?
Kissing's part of life. It's happy.
Yes, it is. So that was something that when I first wrote Find Home, and I was like the whole time, it's like nobody even knew I wrote that because I just didn't want anybody to know about it. And I was really
Yeah.
actually embarrassed about it. And felt really self-conscious because like, oh my goodness, I wrote a romance novel, which is like, the least of all the genres.
Yeah, sure.
It's not like the literary fiction or like the intelligent genre. So I was just, I don't know. I had this like stigma about like my own work. It's like I wrote in this genre and I had stigma about it. And I was talking to one of my friends about it, and it's like, I wrote a romance novel. And she was like, God wrote romance. Like, that's a
Yeah.
good thing.
He
Love
is the author. Yeah.
celebrated. He's the author of love. So, like, that's not something to be embarrassed about. That's like wonderful. So that gave me like huge courage. And
Yes. There's a stigma. I hate it. I hate that stigma. Like, oh, romance novels. It's like, God, he invented love. It's a wonderful thing.
well, now that I write in it, I'm like really embarrassed to even admit I had that stigma. But fact. So, anything else? I guess that was most of my questions. We already talked about like where you're going with this. So anyway, I hope to read your book one day. I'm looking forward to having your book in my hands one day and reading your kissing book. So thank you so much for coming on with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Like Kelly does great reviews, great book recommendations. She's on Goodreads and Instagram. Those are the best places to find you, right?
Yep, for sure. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.
Like I said, I'm excited today, but I'm glad you didn't say that on Saturday because I was not
Hyperventilating.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Take care. I have there was a question, I missed it. Okay, I have one last guest, and while I wait for her to hop on, so I have, like I said at the beginning, I met all of these like incredible women and authors, and like I said, they're all moms. I met them all on Instagram, but only one of them just cold messaged me one day and said, here's my book, and I bought your book, and I'm reading it, and it's great, so here's my book. And I don't know, that takes a lot of guts. She's trying to figure out how to get on. I don't know, it doesn't always work. Like sometimes when you do that, it doesn't work. And it worked with us because probably because she had bought my book, and I was just so touched that she did it. I'm not sure. She's trying to figure out how to get on. Does anyone know how to get on a Instagram Live? But we had a lot else in common. We were both like homeschool moms, and we live within a few hours of each other, and we both have 4 kids. And so I guess she like messaged me that because like she found me and we had so much else in common, and we were both authors, and that's why she sent me her book and why she bought mine. And now she is one of my biggest support team members and a really good friend. We actually found that we have a lot in common with the way we were The way we write, the way we think. I have my turkey. Where's yours?
Mine are too big to hold.
Oh, Will actually doesn't grow these days, and he's so soft and cuddly.
I could get an emotional support quail at this point, but the turkeys are quite large.
Well, since you don't have an emotional support quail with you today, I assume that means that you didn't need one. So
No, I'm all good. I've got my emotional support coffee cup.
That is her Dreamwalker cup from Crabapple Books. It has all the characters from her book, Dreamwalker, on it. By the way, this is Carrie Cotten. I assume like one of those, when you have those celebrities that need no introduction. We've been on each other's live videos before.
Yeah, I totally borrowed my daughter's ring light thing. So this is really professional.
Oh yeah, we are professional.
Yes.
So Carrie, like I said, like randomly sent me her book one day and told me to read it.
Begged you to read it.
So as I was saying, like we have a lot in common, but she has like 1,000 times more guts than me, and I have maybe 20% more patience than her. So that's where we're different. And she lives on a farm, and I would not be caught dead living on a farm. So Carrie, did you always know I already know this whole story. Did you always know you wanted to be a writer? Carrie wrote the book that she wrote, it's called Dreamwalker, and it's Christian. One person on this call had a copy of their book with them.
It's actually the author's copy.
I don't even have mine, and you have yours, so that's good. Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, kind of science fiction-ish. Kind of.
It transcends genres.
Right. Anyway, it was really good. I loved it. I read it and I loved it, and now we're friends. So, that's pretty much how it happened. Yeah. So tell us about your writing journey. And we have like 10 minutes, so you have to give us the reader's condensed version today.
Okay, so like several others, I wrote when I was little and throughout silly stories and crazy stories, and I had notebook upon notebook of stories. And I guess after I was married and had kids, I had a, just like this scene kind of played out in my head, and I thought of a story that I wanted to write. And it was sort of a fantasy kind of story. It was about a girl with a superpower. And so I started writing it, and I didn't know that you could write stories with faith in them and fictional things like superpowers. I thought, oh, you can't do that. So I tried to write this story, just straight secular fiction. Not that I was writing anything bad, but I was trying to separate God from any part of this. And my characters, when I was writing them, I would write them as praying and thinking about there being a God. And then I was like, oh, I can't do that. And so it just wouldn't happen. And so for 10 years, actually it was 11 years, I fought with this story. I struggled with it. I would go write pieces, and then I would give up and quit. And then I would go back to it, and I'd give up and quit. And about 2 years ago, God called us to this crazy journey where it was really like Abraham. He was like, you go and I'll tell you when you get there. And so we sold all of our stuff. We sold our house. We packed up our kids, and we headed to the mountains.
I'm glad you brought them with you.
Yeah, I was iffy there for a while. I was like, you're calling us? I mean, all of us, or what? Yeah, but they came, and it was okay. But so when I got here, my life was different, and my faith was different. Everything was completely different. And this story came back to me, and I finally said, Lord, it keeps coming back. So if you want me to write this, you're just going to have to do it, because I can't do this. And within about 3 months, it was done. And, months and months later, after I'd read it 100 times and had, new friends that I blackmailed into editing it for me. And it just happened. Yes, I bribed them with presents. it just came to be, and it's such a ride, such a crazy journey, and everything came into place because I also used to be a photographer. So part of those skills that I learned were Photoshop and graphic design. So I was able to design the cover without having to shell out thousands of dollars for the cover. And that's my
So
oldest.
what's the cover again? There it is. The gorgeous cover.
Yes, that is there's a glare. That's Katie. She's my oldest child. And this is actually the view from across the street from our house with some flair. And she will appear on future works as well. So that's the condensed version.
When Carrie's not writing and not designing covers and not being my graphic designer for my launch, she made my book trailer and all my pictures and quotes and ads. She's chasing Jim the pig around Grassy Creek.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I love it. Not.
So is that like when you were moving away from the big house and God brought you here, where you just like felt called to chase Jim the pig?
Well, Jim the pig belongs to Katie, and I love Katie, so I will chase Jim the pig to an extent. And wrangle Jim the pig. Apparently that is going on my resume now, as I can pig wrangle. So yeah.
We got to meet Jim the pig and Eddie the ram this summer. That was awesome.
Yes.
So what's your dream? Where are you if you had a pie in the sky,
I'm living the dream, girl. Living the dream.
Right. Right.
Well, my goal
and your wooden door behind you.
That's my closet.
I know.
This is the only place in the house that it looks nice behind me. My goal was similar to, I think it was Tara. I can't remember who said it. One of our new friends. She said the goal is just to finish it, and that was really my goal, was just to finish it, because I'm a quitter. I just quit things, and I thought
that's why I'm here. That's
why
I'm here.
And so I finished it, and then so everything else just feels like icing on the cake. To holding it in my hand was like,
yeah,
what? And then that people bought it, that was crazy. That was,
and it's good. It's
yeah,
good. It should be.
Well, I'm glad. That is all just crazy. It just feels amazing, and I guess having a successful trilogy, which is what I'm hoping for, that people enjoy as much, would be a goal. But I think that the real, and not to sound cheesy, but the real goal of this book was, because of its genre, was to reach people who maybe wouldn't read Christian fiction, that they enjoy this kind of sci-fi, fantasy, supernaturally kind of book. But there's, not a whole lot of Christian fiction in that genre. And my goal was to write something that people who read that would enjoy, and maybe be exposed to the gospel through reading it, and that somehow it would be a part of their faith journey, that they would come to know Christ, or start asking questions, or have a seed planted. So if somebody came to me one day and said, hey, I read your book, and because of what you said, I got saved, or I started asking questions, or what, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Be holla.
Yeah, right. So we're like 1 minute away from this thing like quitting on us. So I just wanted to like make sure that I get in there, that you can find Carrie at author Carrie Cotten on Instagram, Facebook, Amazon, leave a review, all those things. It's such a good book, guys. Like it.
Only 5 stars though, please.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely pick up Dreamwalker if you haven't read it yet, because it blew me away. Not every book that someone randomly sends me is that good as that one, and makes me be their friend. So we are going to be back on tonight, you and me, and we'll be here with Ashton Doro at 8:00. It's about to end in 30 seconds. So we'll be talking more about my book that's releasing tonight. But if you had anything that you forgot to say and you want to get it in, you have another chance tonight.
Look for the sequel. It's coming out soon. And get Heather's. It's awesome. I love it. Her book is amazing.
I've read one version, and I'm looking forward to reading the